Okay, we'll bow. So. Hi. Onegaishimasu. So that was a kind of a bit of a strange class before, which is working on kind of principles and qualities with a little bit of technical stuff. But we're going to do now technical stuff. So we're going to work just through the first 7 Suburi, and maybe cover them all. But I'm really going to focus on the essentials. So what I want to do again is just start in the kamae. Really sense that you gather into the kamae, and just nice and slowly in your own time, just finding the back and cutting down with the first Suburi. So really slow and big, big, big clear movement. Just, again, try and use the center. Try and use all these kind of connected work that we did. Just work through the body. Just get back into the habit of coming into the first Suburi. Nice, clear cuts. That's it. Good. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, good. So this class is really about connection and being connected. Yeah. I've lost my train of thought a little bit. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the center. What I want you to feel now is the center line of the body. So this is now about the center work is about connecting, and it's when we talk about extension into something. So what I want you to feel, make it very clear now, just come to this position like this. So it's shoulder width apart, and I want to really feel, physically feel, and just trace the line of the center. The center line. Sometimes I speak like Spanish. The center line is going to run through the whole body. So it goes like this. With the sword now, anchoring in the center, just pass the sword all the way through the center line. And all the time maintain that center line. So right through the body. As if you're slicing yourself in two. And you would have two perfectly equal parts. Well, not quite equal because the body's not symmetric, but something like that. So, that's it. And the best way to do this is actually against a mirror or in front of a mirror. Or if you can see yourself on screen, I don't know if you can, but just imagine you kind of pass the sword through. So it's just becoming kind of aware of it as a really as a physical thing. So we talk again about the center line like it's mysterious, but it's really just the center line of the body. Okay. Well, that's it. And as we did all this kind of centering work before, try not to lose it now. So the big problem with extension work, connection work, is that I start to throw myself into the object. So if you think about, I always use this analogy like the phone rings and I go, oh, like this, to try and grab it. So my connection's gone because I've lost the center. And my ability to connect functionally is less and less the more I go out of center. So really think about this in terms of the centering work is now should totally always be in place. So really think about now the center dropping into the base. So as much as you can, try and access this movement that we did before like this. This is the same. It's exactly the same feeling in the body. So I just want the center to impact through the ground. Boom. So the body should feel totally released and natural all the time through it. And the moment I feel I've basically lost the center. I'm off balance and I go into tension. Just see if you can get slightly more centered movement. And this again is best done slow. Okay, good. So we've got the sword because we have an asymmetrical position with it. So you've got the right hand in front of the left. So everything in the body in this case is going to want to start to twist out. So this is a problem in this exercise when you've got the feet straight, because if my tendency is to push with the upper body and twist through the body like this, then I will basically throw myself out of balance in this exercise every time. And I will actually, in this case, I will actually create more tension in the body I will create more disconnection in the body. So if my normal Suburi in this case is to do something like this, push out with the right hand, this will actually in a way kind of destroy this exercise. So really get a sense now that as you do this, the shoulders especially are just going to sit back into the body. So really release the cut like this. So what you want in the shoulders is that they roll back and down, but that they don't, especially the right shoulder doesn't do this to the front and twist the body out of structure. So this is really important for this exercise. You don't need to do this because the body, the spine in this exercise is straight. So now just allow the sword to sit into the body. There. But don't allow this to happen with the shoulder. But just feel all the time shoulders back and down. That's it. That's it. Great. Nice, nice, nice. 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 Great. Okay. So again, going back to the center and the connection. So what I want you to feel now is the sword really anchored in the center. So this is going back to a little bit of an exercise, but just allow this to happen. So you're not going to fully go to the back and maybe not fully down. Just work in this kind of area here. And really what I want you to feel is the center communicating to the hands and the hands communicating through the sword. So again, just working on the center line. So just let the sword pass through the center line. But really get a sense that the center connects to the sword. Center connects. So you've got a kind of fluid relationship with the sword, with the extension. Connection's always going to be this way. It's never going to be stiff. This is possible connection, but it's very, very stiff. So let something happen that's very fluid. We're kind of well known in this style, especially being stiff and robotic, which is not a good thing. So all the time, whether we do Kihon, Kino Nagari, it doesn't matter. The body should be working flexibly. The joint system should be free. And those are just different qualities of movement. I don't want to move like a robot. That's it. And again, the more you can feel connected, the more you can increase the movement. So if you feel really quite connected to the sword, just start to increase the movement again. Raise the sword a bit more, drop the sword a bit more, just until you can feel that you get all the way to the back, and then drop it through. And just work in and out of these ranges of motion. Play with the exercise. That's it. That's it. Also, I'm a big fan of doing things wrong. Do things wrong to really understand what doing it more efficiently feels like. So you can be stiff as you do it, create tension, play with it a little bit. That's it. That's it. Great. Good. 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 Nice. Nice. Okay, so now come into the hammy. So you're going to come right side forward. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to reach the back, and this can bring the foot back as you're used to doing, and then just drop through it again with the sword. So no tension at all, and no sense of focus in the cut. Just let it fall. And again, really trying to align the whole movement through the center line. So find the center line in the back, and then maintain it through the cut. And I don't want, in this case, the sword to deviate at all from the center line. So I don't want the sword to do this kind of thing. So just let the sword fall through the center line. That's it. That's it. Good. So. Okay, so in terms of technical details for this one, it's really important that I use a very clear hami. So just watch this. But if I always use an analogy like archery. So I do a lot of archery. Well, no, I don't do any archery at the moment. But in the case of archery, what I need to do is create a line through the body, through the ground, and into the target. And that's an imaginary line, but it's set up with the whole structure. So what happens in archery is you start with the feet, and then you find the posture, you relax through the knees, you find the spine, and only then you start to go into the bow, to the arrow, and all the rest kind of follows through from it. So how I use the feet is crucial to how I'm going to use the center line later. So in terms of Aikido work, we really use hami. And the first Suburi is really crucial for, in a way, hammering the hami into the body. So it's very easy. The body's quite lazy naturally. It will want to kind of do these kind of things. This is where the body feels kind of really comfortable. I feel kind of comfortable and I feel really grounded. But hami is something else. It's a different kind of position, which is this kind of triangular position. So really, in this case, allow the foot to kind of come through. And I'm not going to be strict on the hami. It's your own hami, but you're going to cut through the center of the body. And then as I come forward, I'm going to maintain that line here. But it's not going to drift out at all. There's no sense of the hami kind of drifting out. Really, the hami, if you think about it, is like a triangular posture, or it's really a triangular posture. What I need to do is basically press that whole triangle forward this way. So just have the sense now, just feeling the feet cut through the back foot and then bring it all forward. But if I'm using a line with the foot doesn't deviate at all from that line. It just goes forward. So it just travels forward. So just get a sense now that the whole center line, the line, and every part of your body is going to find the center line. So the feet, the elbows, the knees, the neck, every part of it is going to fall into the center line. And your sword is a reflection of that. This is why Japanese spend a lot of time on footwork, footwork all the time, because it's really your foundation. If the feet fall in line, then really the rest of the body starts to. Just experiment a little bit with the hami. And again, experiment doing it wrong on purpose. So coming out of hami, drifting the body out. Just see if you can basically find a hami that's very efficient and very comfortable as well. Okay, good, nice. And the more settled you are, the more calm you are, the more you can start to really feel that you can sink all the way through the center. Okay, good. So this is a long way of coming back now into the first Suburi. So just find the back again, and then drifting forward, and then just center the cut. So you're going to now focus on the cut back. So really feel now everything's going to focus down the center line, and then fix into the center. So now the center is totally active through the movement. Find the back, a little bit more active now. Find the back, focus. Find the back, focus. And if you can use ki, use ki. If you've got people asleep in the house and you can't do ki, bad luck. There we go. Okay, good. Dila, you talked about the neck before, and for me, the spine, the head, this is a really big, important area. So what I've noticed a lot in these online classes is there's a tendency to do the movement and kind of watch something, probably the screen or maybe something else. But this happens in the dojo as well. But there's a tendency to like something kind of catches your attention forward. Now, if you think about just in terms of a Budo, in terms of a movement, I want to totally focus everything on the thing I'm doing. So in this case, really focus just on a point in front of you, and you can use something as a focus, but really feel that everything, again, falls onto that part. Now, in this case, it's going to align everything to the center line. Now, that doesn't mean everything's locked on the center line, like in terms of Kendo. like everything's kind of in a kind of straight way. And nor does it mean that the body's kind of rigid up, but it means that everything's just going to engage with a feeling of forward this way. So it doesn't feel like it again, but just get a sense that everything's going to press forward. And I use a kind of spot on the wall, or I use an object just to kind of catch, to have a target. And again, it's like on archery. If I lose the target any point in the movement, the arrow will fly out totally off. So I need to fix a point, and I need everything to go towards that one point. So if you talk about now connection, the connection is external to you. So you connected the body, you connected to the sword. Now extend that out to something. So you're connecting now to something else. And the easiest way to do it is just look at it and really focus on it. But allow the whole body to meet that point. Bang. You're bringing the whole cut into that point. Bang. This way. So now feel that something's externally connecting. Bang. Out. So be a bit bigger, basically. Bit wider focus. There we go. That's it. There we go. Good. And again, it goes back to a point I did talk about before, but again, in terms of Japanese martial arts, talk about Zanshin, which is basically the thing that happens after the thing that I think is important, which is like a da-da-da-da-da. So in this case, really feel that something else is happening. So the connection doesn't go kind of and then disappears. And then disappears. So really feel that the connection's always there. So what I want to do is really, really clearly start from this position, find the point, find the focus, and then meet it, meet it, meet it, meet it, meet it, meet it, and then come back. Yeah, all the time, keep the connection on. In this case, we do a lot in the dojo, and we don't get punished for it because we're too nice in Aikido dojos, but we tend to kind of, we do the thing, and then we throw the partner, and then we do and the connection's broken. So I've lost the connection, and then I should basically get feedback from that. The feedback is you've lost the connection and the engagement's gone. And in that point, you're kind of dead in terms of Japanese martial arts. So I want you to really feel that you're connecting all the time. And you find the back, and then you cut. And then you come back into the kamae, connect it. And then if you want to, come back into this position. Totally neutral, and then engage. But keep the connection all the time. If you want, just come back into the kamae, find the back, cut. Find the back, find the kamae here, cut. Kamae, cut. Keep the connection on. And now forget about the screen, forget about Zoom. Focus on you and your connection. Okay, now we're going to go into the second. So what this does is really exaggerate that connection because it lengthens it. So the attention that I need for the first Suburi into the second Suburi is more demanding. So what I want to do now again is find the contact, find the kamae, and I really imagine the center line runs through the ground and through the body. So it's the same thing, the center line of the body and the center line now through the ground, the path I'm going to travel on. So now you go back, raise along the center line, and then find the back, press the hips forward. Now just imagine you're following a line through the whole body. If you've got lines on the ground, good, use them. If you've not, just imagine them. So find a line, and just do the first few very slow, and really conscious of the center line. Here. At the moment, I'm using the edge of a fridge. So a big long fridge, it's got a very clear, distinctive line. white line that runs through the fridge. So I'm just going to use that as a kind of guide. So use whatever you can in your environment. If you've got trees, if you've got a door, use something straight and long and just kind of cut it. That's it.
Up.
That's it.
E. Up. Up.
Nice.
Three.
Okay, and then one big point about connection work is think about communication. So I need to communicate to something. So connection work is, in a way, another word for it is communication. So in this case, what I want you to really focus on, we go back to your own body, really focus on the contact and the connection between the sword to the body. So if you talk about communication, it's always better if it's direct. It's never really good if it kind of goes a long way around to get to you. So what I want to do is a feeling like the connection to the sword is direct. So really feel that from this point, anchor the sword in the body, in the kamae, and really feel that you raise the sword through that. So just focus for now on the raise, because this tends to be the big issue. Again, with connection work, if I start out of connection or out of, like, I'm not really communicating with the whole body, it's very hard to get it back. So from the very first moment, this, really feel that you connect through the body, and then that connection goes. And then once I've got it, I can keep it. And then back. And use these pauses as basically a gathering exercise. I find the connection, and then really feel that you communicate directly to the sword from the center. Center to the sword. And just play with it. And break down the exercise a little bit if you like. So you don't always have to do the same thing. You can play with just the raise. You can play with just the cut. You can play with just moving the body without the sword. But feel free to break the form down.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, good.
Three.
So, good. Nice. Good. Okay, good. So one more point. So one of the main focuses in terms of what we do in terms of connection work is how I use the center. So if you think about, you can find the center, and then it's a matter of how I connect the center to the periphery. So what happens a lot in sword work is this. It's almost automatic because everything's in the front and it's in their hand. So what the big thing is going to happen is the hands want to start the movement. So I somehow think I need to move the sword. I'm connected with the hands directly. I need to move the hands, and then this happens. And then what basically happens is I raise the sword through the periphery of the body, and then the center lags behind. So try and get a sense that you actually connect through the center, and then something goes in the center. Something goes in the center, and that raises the sword. But in this case, try and avoid, I make it really clear. You can raise the sword on the periphery, and then settle it into the center, or you can raise the sword through the center, and then periphery follows. So try and order the body along the center, and it happens in the cut too. I can start in the periphery, or I can start in the center. And I want much more to be efficient, center. So really think all the time, center to periphery, center to periphery. And again, that never goes away, and it will never change. So whatever the exercise is, center to periphery is always how the communication will go. So just try and focus on this. You've got these two big movements, or two opportunities to train it. The raise and the cut. And coming back into kamae also. So all the movements you do, just focus on the center to periphery. So the movement starts at your core and it passes out. to the extremities. That's it. And that's the same with the ki. The ki comes from the center out. It goes like this. So it doesn't stop externally. Just try and locate everything. Perfect. That's it. Good. Okay, we're going to do the next groups along the line. I'm going to skip 3. We're going to go to 4. So what I want to do now, again, focus on the same things, but I want you're now obviously doing something very different, which is advancing the body each time. So depending on your space, just cycle through all the time Shomanuchi, stepping, Shomanuchi. Now, because this is an exercise, the 4 Suburi really find the back and then cut down with it. So depending on your space, you can do 2, 3, you can even do just 1 cut, but ideally, get to the idea that you're going to advance, find the back cut, advance, find the back cut, and then go to the back. Just keep in mind all the time this is Shomanuchi work. So using the center line, totally aligning the cut through the center line of the body. And walking the line, walking the line. That's it. That's it. Oh. Okay, good. Big important point. Really crucial. So this is this movement. If I'm using the upper body to generate the movement, what will happen is the upper body gets drawn up and then comes down. So you get this, in English we call bobbing. It's like bum, bum, bum. So then the sense is basically going to bob through the movement. They're going to go out of the ground and then in, out of the ground in, boom, 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 like this is bobbing. So in this case, try and avoid the bobbing. What you want to do is feel that you raise the sword. Feel that, again, it relates to the second story in that as I raise the sword, I'm actually doing it by pressing down. So there's a pressure down, and then the sword raises through that. And then it comes forward this way. So just do a little exercise, which is like this. You just find the kanai, and then you do really slowly. And it's like I fall through the movement. So it's like this, and then this way. So the emphasis is taken out of the cut, and it's put into this first motion of basically, how do I raise a sword? And just think about in general, how do I raise an object up? I do it from underneath, and then I raise it. Now we do that when it's a heavy thing like a weight, but we get away with it with light things like a sword. But don't let yourself get away with it. So really feel that you get underneath the object, which is quite difficult from this position. But really feel that you get the lower body underneath the sword, underneath, and then fall into it this way. So just try and see if you can basically access this. It's the what goes up goes down, and in this case the down's much more prominent, more down. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And then you get a weight and you get a heaviness through the movement. There we go. Nice. So let the weight sink. Whoa. Let it go down. Boom. That's it.
Up.
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 Good.
Up.
Nice.
3. 3.
Nice.
3. Up.
Oh.
Up.
Hey.
3. 3. Up. 3. up,
Nice,
Right.
nice.
Up.
Great.
up, 3, up,
Great.
8,
Okay, good. So I'm going to skip into the fifth Suburi now. So much more complicated. And now this is where you leave the center line through the Shomanuchi work. And now you come into your Komanuchi work. So again, find the Kamai, and you're just going to go straight into the cut. This way. Straight into the cut. And in this case, what I want you to do is just do 2. So do 2, come back, right side forward, left side cut, your Komanuchi. Right side cut, your Komanuchi. And then just come back. One of the big problems with Suburi work is that it's repetitious. So what I want you to do is give yourself a pause in between. Find the Kamai and then go. And go. You're doing a Kihon clear state. 2 cuts, find the Kamai back, and then repeat. Oh. So. And now you're working with a Yokomen cut. Okay. Good. Good. Okay, so what we've not really talked about is how the hand works. So most of us have got it in the first, second, third, so I didn't really mention it. So, but when it comes to the fifth, there's something else happens in the handwork. So there needs to be a release through the sword. So I call it like a scissoring through the hand. So you've got this grip, and then as you go, it releases through the cut. So if you watch the handwork, it's like a release through the hands, release through the hands. So that the hands work like, I call it scissoring because the hands basically do this. The hands kind of open and then close, open and then close, open and then close. So doing this constant kind of scissoring action. And that basically means what's going to happen is I'm not going to rigidly grab the sword through the movement. And then this will all knock the body up into these kind of positions. So what I need to do, the teaching from the fourth Suburi is like how to release the shoulders this way. Now what you're going to do is pass that connection through the handwork. Yes. And because I'm not finding the back, the big tendency is to lose the balance forward and be in the hands like this. But really feel in this case, you can release through the hands this way. So just play with a few, and again, do it badly, do it wrong on purpose, really strong grip. This will just knock the body up. It will tie the body up and it will break the connection. And just try in this case as lightly as you can. So I can be very light on the sword. Very light. Totally open the fingers out as I do the movement, because the sword's been supported from underneath, not through clinging with the fingers. Just experiment with the grip a little bit. Just cycle between how tight you can be with the hands, how strongly you can grip it, and how lightly you can grip it. How loose can I be with the sword, with the grip, and maintain contact. Obviously, the big risk is I'm going to lose the sword if I'm light. But if I can keep the connection on, there's no sense that the sword will be lost. Very nice. Oh. Nice. Great. Okay, good. So that's focusing on the hands. Now I want to focus on the footwork, what happens in the feet. So as you now come from this position, what I want you to really feel is a release through the feet as you find this movement. So just do, in this case, just do one cut, starting Kamai, like this. And what I want you to feel again is the softening through the hands, and a draining through the lower body. So feel that everything sinks down in through the foot, and then I use that to kind of carry the body forward. So what I basically want you to do now is focus on fully engaging the body forward through the movement. So just one cut at a time. Find the kamae, really feel that you stack the body up and that you can release through the movement. So just play now with basically a forward motion, basically really strongly advancing the body through. So if it's center supported, I can be quite strong with it, really engaged. If it's not center supported, I will lose my balance to do the cut. So the big thing about connection work is working from the center for us. So the more I can work from the center, the more connected I can be, the more grounded I can be, the more balance I have. These are all really crucial. Just one cut. Nice, grounded, but also in the sense of being relaxed. So one problem really quick is we tend to create false splits in the movement. So what we tend to do now is like raise and then cut. So I've created a distinction in the movement. One's a raise and one's a cut. Now that's obvious. It's what it is. It's the reality of the movement. There's a raise and then there's a cut. But if I create that split in the movement, it looks like this: a raise and then a cut. So I've divided the movement in two, but I've divided something that's actually one thing. So don't see the raise and the cut as separate, even though they are. See them as a raise cut. So the raise cut is one thing. So it's not in a sense like it's really in a sense like the raise and the cut is one thing. So just play with this, where you're basically just going to swing through. So really feel that is one thing, and not two. Just one cut. So the raise the cut, one thing. And really just play with it. In this case, do left foot, right foot. Just play with it a little bit.
Wait.
Just do one thing.
Wait. Up.
And again, just continue. Imagine you're really engaging something forward. So pick a spot on the wall or pick an object in the house and really engage with it, which in this case means attacking it very clearly. Go to attack it. Go to attack it. And you want to commit everything to the attack. So just do it with a bit more. It's like a cat leaping onto a bird in the field. That's it. And it's not about speed, it's about centered movement. That's it. Whoosh. Nice. Okay, good. So do the same thing. What I want to do now is introduce the ski from number 6. So normally, obviously, when we do number 6 Suburi, you come back, find this movement, and then come into the cut, and then find the Suburi like this. In this case, forget about that and just think about working again from a position, coming into number 5, and then just follow it with a ski. And just do one at a time. If you like, change foot each time, but just practice now rolling into the yokume, and then press into the ski. And just, again, let it settle. So you're doing a different movement now, or a new movement. But just feel what happens. Again, the center to the periphery. This way. And just kind of focus on it. Just listen to it. So just one cut, one thrust. Cut, thrust. And then come back. You do left side, right side. Just that. Hey. Oh. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Great. Okay, good. And center to periphery work here is really super clear. So I can work the ski two ways. I can go periphery to center and then press it out, or I can go center to periphery and then press it out. Okay. So what it looks like there's lots of ways you can do the ski, and none of them are wrong, but some of them are just not what I really want to work on. So in this case, I can lock the connection together. So this is locked, and then I just push it forward. That's one way to do the ski, but it's very robotic. There's no sense of fluid connection through it. The other one is to pull the saw back and then do it. But that's working the periphery first. It's periphery to center. See if you can access something where the center presses into the periphery. So the center goes in and then it presses it out. So I think of having a small yoga ball, these kind of inflatable balls, and I think about pressing the center in and then pressing it out like this. This is really exaggerated. It's not what actually happens, but the sense is pressure in and then out this way. But I don't want to do in this case like this. This is, again, quite robotic, and it's quite a crude way of connection. So think about the center presses through. So think the hands are there, and the center presses through it. Just see if you can access that with the sword. And again, it's just keeping this in your head, center to periphery, center, periphery. Really feel what goes first. Just about the order. Okay. That's it. That's nice. Nice. Good. Oh. Great. Okay, so we'll finish with number 7 in a very simple way again. So what I want you to do is go back to this position. You're going to come to the back. Just find a shomuchi, really ground through the hips, and then come into the spiral here. So really, really basic. If you like, I'll give you 2 ways you can do this. You can go all the time back to the kamae, find the back, find the ground, find the thrust. So you can do that way and then just come back. The second way, if you want to be a bit more active, find the cut, find the thrust, and then go into a zengo. Go to the back, cut, thrust. So depending on what you want to work on, feel that you can kind of cycle between the two as well. So if you feel I lose the connection, the best thing to do is stop. Go back to the position, find the center again, find the body, find the command, relax, and then go back into it. And just find number 7. Cutting down, spiraling, bringing to the left side, that way. Cutting on the right, thrusting on the left. That's it. And if you ever feel like you're not working in, if I'm not really working in 80, 90% feeling connected, I will stop and I'll do nothing. The worst thing you can do is work bad connection. So this is the problem with Suburi work, is that it's repetitive. But I want to do quality Suburi. If you feel disconnected, just stop, do nothing, and then go again. Awesome. Nice. Very nice. Obviously, there's tons of technical details that are impossible to cover. So all I want to focus on is again, the center to the Soto. Really work on now, you're doing a really different movement in the ski, which is really a spiral from the hip. So rather than in a way, if you think about this movement, I've kind of separated this movement into here. So just think of this as like a forward hip hinge. And then what you do is something else. So rather than kind of just passing the hip forward and doing this, what you do is something else, which is a spiral. So you're coiling through the movement like this. So I love number 7 because it's the most clear movement in the sword that's a spiral until in the Suburi, until you go into slicing work. But just try and really feel that you're doing something different with the hip. This is not kind of just walking forward in this case. This is really like spiraling and coiling the hip. So this is 7's not to do with traveling. It's to do with finding the hip this way. So it's to do with creating a spiral through the connection. Spiral through this way. So just trying to emphasize the difference between the cutting motion in the hips and the thrusting motion in the thrust in the hips there. I think just the last couple of minutes. It sounds a bit obvious, but these are really 2 different movements. You've got a cut and you've got a thrust. So in necessarily the connection is going to be different through the body. What you do with the body is different. What's the same is how you structure the movement. Ground, center, periphery. It's always the same. That's great. I'm just trying to unlock the spiral a little bit. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh. Very good. Okay, last minute or so. What I'm going to do is just let you go freely, but just play with Shomanuchi, Yokomanuchi, and these 2 skis. So do them freely as you like and move around the space. But just play with, in this case, you've got the Shomanuchi, Yokomanuchi, Shomanuchi, and you've also got these 2 thrusting movements. One side, and in this case, you've also got number 7, taking a step with it. But just really slow, calmly, but with full focus. Just move around the space. And really now focus on an object. So as you move, focus. Really have a target for the cut. Don't let the energy kind of dissipate through the movement. Focus on cutting something, thrusting something. Good. Nice. Just 30 seconds. Just nice, slow, but really full of feeling. That's it. Nice. Keep going. Just mix them in. And again, if you feel really connected, start to make the moves a bit more complicated. Good. 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 Just a little bit more. Keep going. Nice. Okie dokie. Good. Okay, we'll stop there. So, one of the, if I got some advice for this work, especially for Suburi work and especially slow work, is that we tend to mistake slow for sloppy. So we tend to do slow as like, and I do it in a way that's kind of meh. So my advice for it is when you do these kind of movements, especially do them slow. Slow is really, really important, but do them with full commitment. So even though it's slow, really feel that you are fully committing into it. So don't really feel that it's kind of sloppy, really feel that it's and my ability to kind of train that way, I will get much more out of the training than the Suburi. Especially, and slow is really important because it really helps me to consciously check through the movement, the body. So it slows where the training's really at, but also full commitment through the movements as well. That's really, really crucial for slow training, that it doesn't get kind of energetically dead. So it's to try and really fill the body up through the movements. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll bow out and then we'll come back. Okay. Hi, domo.
どうもありがとう。
どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Great. Okay, take a quick break. We'll come back at 10 exact. If you've got any questions, let me know. Anything's not clear, let me know. Let's see.